Thanks for staying with us. So, we still have our guest, Honorable Alabi, here. I know that you said that you're hoping that Nigerians can come together to participate. You're planning some of a public hearing. Yeah. Is it going to be nationwide, or is it going to be only your constituency? How do you plan to go about the public hearing?
Well, here's how the legislative process works. After the bill is passed and read the second time, it's referred to the relevant committee, and in this case, Domestic Workers' Bill of Rights goes to the Committee on Labour. So once it's referred to the Committee on Labour, that's within 1 week. By now, it should have been referred to the Committee on Labour. The Chairman, House Committee on Labour, will now take it up and set a date for a public hearing.
Okay.
Advertise, send to the press, to NGOs, to all stakeholders to come for the public hearing at the National Assembly. But I know that National Assembly is going to go on recess for Salah very soon, and Easter is also coming up. So I'm not hopeful for April. I'm hopeful for May for that to happen. But I'm going to physically push the Chairman House Committee on Labour to hurry up the process. He's got to write an application to the Finance Department for funding of the public hearing, because this is going to cost money. The same money you have to do newspaper publication, full page or half page in major newspapers all over the country, and physical logistics as well. So I'm going to push the Chairman House Committee to let's ensure that this is done by May. And once this goes through, the recommendation is set to the House for the third reading, and we'll call the Committee of the Whole, where we all sit and look at the bill clause by clause and argue it out and say, no, why should it be 50K minimum? It should be national minimum wage, and we argue and argue and argue and argue. And once that is passed, it's transmitted to the Senate for concurrence. If a bill originates from the Senate, it also must be passed to the House, and the two chambers will come and provide a clean copy sent to the villa for the assent of the president. So we're hoping this will go on as smoothly as possible. Lawmaking process can be tedious, can be time consuming, rightly so, because you're making a law that is binding on 200 million people and generations of one. So all hands must be on deck. Everyone must come from their angles to make sure we have a very, very good law that benefits Nigerians.
So, in your own view, who constitutes a domestic worker? I mean, aside from the guys in the house, can you give us an idea of who and who?
It needs to be defined, but personally, like I said, I'm not imposing my will on the country, but personally, anyone hired to do any sort of domestic work for you. You hire someone to be your maid, you hire someone to be your cleaner, you hire someone to be your gardener, your gate man. Anyone you've hired, come and work and be rewarded either by sending you to school or by giving your parents money or by giving an agent money, because that happens. You're talking about the agents, although unlicensed ones. So that's my personal definition, but that's something I would like more stakeholders and interested individuals to come and give us their own definition so that we can broaden it in that bill.
This bill, does it capture a form of education where skills are acquired by training? Where if I were a tailor and a child is brought in apprenticeship, they do that a lot in Oyo also, and the child is brought in to live with me to understand my skill. If I'm an iron, if I'm an
apprentice
and all of that.
No, personally,
that apprentice.
No, it's not part of my own interest. That was not my own interest.
So no, I'm saying, does it capture that? Would it clash? Because it's likely to clash with that.
Because if you're an apprentice in my house, you can also wash plates for me.
Of course, you will message. You know that there's a reason I ask. You know, when you're an apprentice under the tailorship
and you're living with me,
they will not cut cloth a full day, but you'd have washed the whole house.
So so that's where the labor committee.
That's why we need as much definitions as possible to make it as.
I think it's different. Let's not mix it.
But you still different
because the Igbo apprenticeship system.
There's going to be a lot. There's already an argument about this already.
The Igbo apprenticeship system. The Nwa boy, where they live in the house.
Yes.
They do chores before they go to the shop.
They
eat in the house and everything.
Must do chores.
Yeah, so it's different. You can't be in the house though you are learning a trade and you are not able to do some chores. It's like saying our PAs now. they follow us. They like my PA personally stays in my house. Though she doesn't do chores because I have people that do it, but she carries my bag.
Big disclaimer.
Yes. No, she doesn't do chores. I have people who are doing that.
But
if I didn't have, she's not meant to do. But if I didn't have somebody who was doing that for me, she will help me now. I'll be washing plates. You sit down. No, I'm just saying.
It's an exchange. Let me put what I meant in perspective.
Okay.
So there are 3 things I'm talking about. One, if an apprentice is working with somebody, not even living with them, in our African setting, hairdressing, tailoring. When madam comes in the morning, madam can tell you that go back home. You are not living in a house. You are going back to madam's house as an exchange for what your parents have subscribed. What you subscribe is that you will go home and the clothes are packed down, including underwears. You wash it and dry it. It's part of your training. And they bring under 18 children to come and start. Now, there's the one that BC is talking about, which is Zinwa boy. They live with Oga.
Yes.
The Oga is totally responsible for feeding and not bringing and training as well. So they must contribute to the home.
Chores,
Now, what they are contributing to the home is the exchange for the skill that the training that Oga is giving them. So small things like cut garden, go and clear gutter, all of those things is not equal to what they are even learning. Because at the end of the day, Oga still settles them.
Do you think
more dignified
they should be part of the domestic workers bill of
you know,
rights?
you should get ready for this your public hearing that you have called.
Those ones should not. Some people will argue that they should.
Because
that person now can accuse his uncle. And I came to Lagos to come and learn how to trade. But you're asking me to go and do...
You can accuse your uncle just because you can say, I wash, I clean, I'm the one responsible. And once he comes under what is a domestic worker.
So this is what I would say why it should not fall under that bill that you're trying to propose. Is because we already have a recognized system of apprenticeship. What we need is to be regulated and make sure that there's no abuse of that system on ground. I think it works ideally, but we need to just make sure that, so that we do not belabor this bill that's going to talk about domestic workers, because we have those domestic workers. We have a lot of people coming from the north because of all sorts of crises, and they come here for almost nothing. They are your gatesmen, they are cleaning your house. So those are the people I feel that this should concentrate on. Does not mean that all those other ones should not should not be regulated or licensed.
I was first to admit that there's going to be a lot of arguments. There's going to be a lot of pushbacks on how this. I'm not kidding myself. On the surface, it looks, everybody we're on the same page, but when
we're not on the same page.
I'm a bit curious about the women. I mean, I hate to make this a sexist or a gender thing, but I would have expected, because if Nima was in the National Assembly, I would expect that this is probably one of the bills she first to go and study. It's something that Nima will say, she will be the one to be putting it in the. I'm thinking to myself, like, what exactly are our sisters doing there? I mean, for you to go and study the Treaties Act, to even understand, say that about 5,000, 1,000 of them that have been passed. So I'm thinking to myself,
I can't speak for any member. I can't speak for or against any member, but we all have our interests, and we have what constituents have demanded from you, especially when you are campaigning. Like, constituents will say, please bring a university to us. And you might even think, like, we actually don't need a university here or a new university. But because your constituents, that's what they insisted, then you come to the bill, please, and establish a bill to establish university of this in your village, and so on. So there's a lot of factors that goes into deciding on which bill to bring to the floor. But like I said, if I wasn't really studying these treaties,
you wouldn't have seen it.
I wouldn't have. I know that these domestic workers need to be protected, but as a law, for the mere fact that there was a treaty, so there's a kind of legal foundation that I can build upon. So that was what led me to doing this.
So you see that education is not scam?
At all. I'm going for my PhD next.
Honestly.
So now let's go to, now that we've talked about this, let's talk about what are legal, what other bills are you working on? Are you, aside from, I know this is on the major one, but...
I'm looking at a few electoral amendments and constitutional amendments. Okay, let me tell you.
Wait, let me pause you for a second, because I'm told I have to go on a break. When I come back, I'd like to hear this properly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.